presidential candidates, to no one's surprise, are attempting to reach as many voters as they can now with less than 3 weeks before Election Day. Former President Trump appeared in 2 televised town halls. On Fox News, he largely focused on immigration and the border. Trump also taped a town hall with the Spanish-language network Univision in Miami. The former president holds what pollsters project to be a commanding lead among Florida's Hispanic voters, and he spoke to those who may still be undecided. Vice President Harris is hoping to win over Republicans on the fence still about whether or not to support Trump. Today, she held a rally in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, a little bit north of Philadelphia, where she highlighted Republicans now supporting her, and also sat down for an interview with Fox News. Robert Costa joins us now from Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania. That is, if I have the geography correct, in Bucks County, which that's where you grow up, Robert. So tell me, what's it like, A, to be home? What's the mood there, and what have you heard?
Well, Major, great to be with you. It's, of course, not about me, but I do grow up here. I know Bucks County. It's suburban Philadelphia. It's traditional Republicans. I'm walking around. I'm seeing former Congressman Jim Greenwood, a moderate Republican from years ago in the House of Representatives. Former Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois is here. Former Congressman Denver Riggleman of Virginia. They're all coming here. Even Christine Todd Whitman from across the Delaware River right behind me, the former New Jersey governor. Centrist Republicans. Vice President Harris remarked on stage today that she would be pretty surprised in any other election year to have this group show up on stage with her in the closing lap of a presidential campaign. But here they are. The Harris campaign truly believes, based on my conversations with top advisors, that she can make inroads with traditional Republicans who don't like former President Trump's conduct, his character. Now, a lot of these Republicans don't mind his economic policies, maybe not his protectionist view on trade, but they like low taxes. This is a prosperous area in many respects. It also has a manufacturing and working class base in other parts of Bucks County. It's a real sliver of Pennsylvania and the country.
Bob, I want you to stand by just for a moment. I want to bring in Nikole Killion, who is hurriedly joined us from Georgia. And I know it's been a bit of an issue to get you there in time. Nikole, we're very appreciative that you're here. Catch us up on where you are and what you have been covering today.
Well, obviously, there are quite a few developments here in Georgia. We're obviously outside of a polling location now as Georgia begins with its second day of early voting. But we already saw on that first day the state shattered records with well over 300,000 votes cast. And so far today, more than 100,000 votes have been cast. So the pace is continuing in terms of people trying to make their voices heard. But in addition to that, of course, the former president was just here in Georgia last night at a rally just outside of Atlanta. But he also did a town hall that was centered around women's issues, more specifically where he addressed an all-female audience. And while he was trying to make inroads with women, he is getting some pushback for comments that he made during that town hall where he said that I am the father of IVF. Take a listen.
And IVF, you had mentioned before
right,
IVF.
Let's get this question, because I believe that's what this is about.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF, so I want to hear this question.
I found it to be quite bizarre. Actually, he called himself the father of IVF. And if what he meant is taking responsibility, well, then, yeah, he should take responsibility for the fact that 1 in 3 women in America lives in a Trump abortion ban state.
So, of course, that was a vice president there reacting to those comments. Obviously, she has been someone that's been very stalwart and really hitting home the message with respect to reproductive rights. So that's why you heard her taking aim at the former president for his comments there. But for his part, the Trump campaign telling us that the former president was simply trying to reaffirm his support for those fertility treatments and that he was simply making the comments in jest. Major?
Robert, I want to go back to you because there has been emphasis, the Harris campaign in western Pennsylvania. You know the geography of the state very well. But not only in Philadelphia County, but the other surrounding counties, Bucks County, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery County, they comprise and will comprise on election night a substantial part of the Pennsylvania vote writ large. What's the state of the campaign there based on your reporting as best you can tell?
There's a real sense inside the Harris campaign that in western Pennsylvania, in exurban and rural areas, the Trump campaign, as it did in 2016 and 2020, is going to do pretty well. And they can't always predict the amount of turnout of those Trump supporters who might not be politically active in any other context except when Trump is on the ballot. So they really do need to make inroads, top Democrats tell me, among suburban Republicans, among centrists, to make sure that if there is any unexpected low turnout in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, in those urban areas where the Democrats have a lot of historically significant support among labor unions, among voters of color, among other workers in those cities. If those numbers are not at the levels they need to be, that means they need to do well in the suburbs. That's why you see her taking the time to come to Bucks County. It's a place that was won by President Biden. It was won in the past by President Clinton. It's also a place that George W. Bush did well. And so she needs to try to get those January 6 wary Republicans to come along.
And Nikole, I want to go back to you because in Georgia, you're in Atlanta, if I understand that correctly. Not only Fulton County, but the surrounding suburban counties crucial there as well. Any sense of where things stand in those counties?
Yeah, well, I think I would point out, you were asking me earlier what all is happening in Georgia, and I think it's worth mentioning a couple of things just on the legal front, simply because we have seen a number of rulings by the Fulton County Court, and even just late this afternoon, District Attorney Fani Willis filed to get the charges against former President Trump restated in the 2020 election interference case. You may recall earlier this spring, a series of charges, about 6 charges were thrown out against the former president and 5 of his co-defendants. They were solicitation charges related to that false elector scheme as part of the alleged election interference case. And so she is now pushing to get those reinstated. And then in addition to that, you also have some rulings that impact how ballots will be addressed and how election night will be handled here in Georgia. And those pair of rulings coming from Judge Robert McBurney over the last 24 to 48 hours, where late yesterday he blocked a ruling, or blocked a new rule, I should say, that was implemented just a month ago by a controversial state election board that would have required ballots to be hand counted on election night. And he said that's just too much and too late in the process to try to implement. Separate from that, he also issued a separate ruling requiring that local officials and jurisdictions certify their election results on time. Again, all of these efforts aimed at trying to make sure that there is no doubt sowed in the election outcome here in Georgia, particularly in light of what happened here in 2020.
Nikole, Killion in Atlanta, Robert Costa in suburban Philadelphia, thank you both very much.